Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Genius Knowledge Point, your go-to place for practical programming solutions for diploma, computer and IT students. If you are stuck on any practical assignment or just want to learn how to solve programs step by step, then you are in the right place. The main purpose of making this video is to provide practical knowledge to all diploma students so that they can develop their own programs which will be helpful for their future. In this video, we are going to see practical number 10 of object-oriented programming, which is under the Diploma Computer and IT semester 3rd, and that is for the case scheme. So, practical number 10 is write a program for default constructor, parameterize constructor, copy constructor, and multiple constructor in one class. So, all the concept of constructor we have to cover here. So, this is how the practical will be done. So let us see the first question, that is write a program to implement default constructor that initializes num1 and num2 as 10 and 20 and prints the values of num1 and num2. So this is very simple program. We have to initialize the two variables which are under the class. The class name is not given, we have to assume that, and we have to set those values to 10 and 20 and print those values. But we have to use the default constructor here. So the question is given regarding default constructor. So directly moving to the coding part, there we will see how to create a constructor and how it is used. So moving to the coding part, initially we have to include both the header files. Then after that I am defining the class, that is class, then my numbers, the name I am giving is my numbers. Then after that I am opening public section. Inside that I am taking both the variables which are given in the question as a num1 and num2, and the question is given as we have to set those values to 10 and 20. So for that purpose we have to use the constructor. So now we will see what is the constructor. Constructor is a special member function which is used to initialize the object of the class. So this is the constructor, and constructor have the property that it is having the same name as the class name. So if you see, this is my constructor, and one more property is there, it is not having any return type. It does not have any return type. So this is the constructor which is not having any return type. Its name is same as the class name, and after that it is a function. So as it is a function, it should be enclosed with opening and closing round brackets. So if you have some parameters, you can put the parameters inside this brackets, but as the question is given, we have to use the default constructor. So the default constructor is the constructor having no parameters, then it is called default constructor. So this is the definition of default constructor. So it is also a member function, so it will be having opening and closing curly bracket, and inside that it will be having some code. So what we have given in the question, we have to set num1 and num2 values to 10 and 20 respectively. So for that purpose, inside this special member function, that is our constructor, which is a default constructor, I am setting the both values as num1 is equal to 10, num2 is equal to 20. So this is how we have set the values using default constructor, and after that the constructor is closed. Then after that we have to show the output. So for that purpose I am taking one more function, that is word show. Then inside that function I am just showing both the values, that is value of num1 attaching num1 value, then value of num2 attaching num2 value, and I am using cout method. Then the display function or show function is closed, your class is closed here. Then going to the main function, that is int main, inside that I am creating one object. So whenever you are creating an object of any class, it is calling the default constructor. So I am creating this object using the class name. So what will happen, it will call the default constructor first, and as we have designed a default constructor with some code which is having num1 is equal to 10 and num2 is equal to 20, so that will run at this step. So at this line, this constructor will run for obj, that is one object, and automatically the code will run, and both the values, that is num1 and num2, will be 10 and 20 at this line number. Then next step is to show the output. So for that purpose we have already designed a function, that is show function, and I will be calling that show function on the same object, that is obj.show. So it will show me the values which are inside num1 and num2, and finally the output is here. Then getch is there to hold the output screen and return 0, as you know, because the main function is having integer return type. So the coding is complete at this step. I am just selecting all, copying all the code, going to compiler, then taking a new file, pasting the code, then running the code. So if you see, the output is visible as value of num1 is equal to 10, value of num2 is equal to 20, because when we have created the object, automatically it is calling the constructor, and that constructor has set the values to 10 and 20 respectively, and the same values are displayed using the show method. This is how we have completed the first question, and the output is here. Now the second question is, define a class student which contain member variables as roll number, name and course. Write a program using constructor as computer engineering for course. Accept this data for objects of class and display the data. So in this program you have to create a class having the name student. Inside that the variables are given as roll number, name and course. So these will be our member variables. Then we have to create a constructor to set the course as computer engineering. So inside the constructor we will be setting course value to computer engineering for all the objects, and after that we have to accept data, that is the remaining variables, for objects and display that data. So directly moving to the coding part, there we will see what we can do. So initially I am including some header files, that is iostream.h, conio.h, and inside program I am doing some string operations. So for that purpose I am taking one more header file, that is string.h. I will be doing some string operations here. So next I am starting the class definition, that is the class student, opening the class. Then inside that I am opening a public section, that is roll number, that is integer data type, name which is character data type, and it is a string. So for that purpose we have to take it as a array of characters. Similarly for course I am taking it as array of characters. Then after that, as the question is given, you have to use the constructor here. So I am creating constructor. As we have seen in the previous question, that the constructor is having the same name as the class name, and it does not have any return type. So this is my constructor. It is having the name student, and the bracket is empty, that means it is a default constructor. Inside that I am just using strcpy. So this is a string function, that's why I have taken the string.h header file. So strcpy is the function to copy string to another string. What it will do, it will take the string computer engineering, which is enclosed in double quotes. So this string will be copied into course. So we have set the course value to computer engineering using the string operations. We cannot just use course is equal to computer engineering, because both the values are string variables, and we cannot just use equal to operator here to set the value. That can be used on integers and floats. Numeric values can be set using equal to operator, but strings cannot be set. So that's why we have used the string function, that is strcpy, to copy this value into course. So this is how your course is ready now. I am closing the constructor, then going to the next function, that is accept data. So as the course is ready, but other details are not ready here. So for that purpose I have to accept roll number and name. So what I am doing, I am just entering a message, enter roll number, and that is accepted into roll number variable. Same for name, accepted into name variable. So accept data function is accepting roll number and name for particular object, and the course is already set using constructor to computer engineering. So the accept data is done. After that, as we have to display the data, I am using one more function, that is display data function. Then inside cout I am just putting a message, that is student details. Then again putting a cout message, roll number, attaching roll number variable here, name, attaching name variable here. Then again cout course, attaching course variable here. as our course is set to computer engineering, it will be displayed as computer engineering here. So the display function is done. Now closing the class, then going to main function. So int main, then opening the main function, creating one object of our class. So class name is student and S1 is my object name. So as soon as this line is run, what it will do? It will call the constructor, which is default constructor, because we are not passing any parameter while creating the object. So it will automatically call the default constructor. It will set course value to computer engineering for this object, that is S1. Then after that I am calling x1 dot accept data function. So it will accept the roll number and name. Then after that I am calling s1 dot display data function. So it will display all the three values using our output. And finally the getCH is there to hold the output screen and return 0, as the main function is returning integer. So this is how the coding is completed. Selecting the entire code, then going to compiler, creating a new file, pasting the code here, and after that going to run. So it is asking me to enter the roll number. I am just entering some random number. Name I am putting ABCD. So if you see, after entering roll number and name, it has not asked me to enter course, but the course is printed as computer engineering because we have set the course value using our default constructor as given in the question. So all the details are printed, roll number is printed, name is printed, course is printed. So this is how the second question is done. Now moving to the next question, that is first question of practical related questions. Write a program to declare a class student having data members as name and percentage. Write constructor to initialize these data members, accept and display data for one object. So it is similar to the previous question. Again we have to create a student class, but the variables are different, that is name and percentage are the member variables, and inside constructor we have to initialize the data members. So we have to use constructor and we have to set some values using the that constructor, then accepting and displaying the data for one object. So let us move to the coding part directly to see how it can be done programmatically. So initially I am taking header files, that is iostream.h, conio.h, and again I am taking string.h because I am doing some string operations. Then defining the class, that is class student, taking the private access specifier. Inside that I am taking the member variable as char name, which is the character array, and the size is set as 50. This is the string variable, as the name will be stored in the string, so we have to take the character array. Then percentage will be having float data type. So the data members are done. Then I am opening a public section. Then here I am taking a constructor of the class, that is having name student. So this is the constructor, and as the question is given, we have to initialize these variables, that is member variables. So for that purpose we have to pass some input to the constructor, because it is a member function, it is a special member function. It does not have return type, its name is the same as the class name. So we have to pass some inputs to the constructor. Those inputs will be taken and their values will be stored into your data members, that is name and percentage. So for that purpose I am taking two parameters. First parameter is character array, which is a string. Then second parameter is float value, which is for percentage. So inside the constructor, what I am doing, I am using the string function, that is strcpy, copying the value of n, which is given as a parameter, into name variable. So whatever the name given into this parameter, that will be taken and it is stored into name, that is member variable of class student. Then after that assigning p value, that is the parameter value, to percentage. So this is how our name and percentage are accepted and stored, that is initialized using a constructor. So name and percentage are ready now. Next function is I am using the display function, that is cout, entering the message, that is name, and attaching name value in front of that, and similarly for percentage, displaying the percentage. So display function is displaying the value and this constructor is initializing the member variables. So this is how the constructor is used in normal programs. Finally the class is closed here. Going to main function. Inside that, as we are passing input to the constructor which is taken from the user, and those inputs should be taken inside main function. So that's why we have to create two variables, that is string variable to accept the name and percent variable to accept the percent. So I am taking both the variables as it is a character array, naming it as sname, which is a string variable. Then second variable is float variable, which will be accepting percentage. So both the variables are ready to accept the values. Then after that I am putting a simple message, enter student's name. The value will be accepted into sname, that is a string variable. Second, I am putting message, enter student's percentage. Then again I am accepting it into s%, which is the second variable, which is float variable. Now both the values of name and percentage are accepted. Now it is time to create our object, because whenever we are creating the object, we have to use this constructor, and in that we have to pass the parameter. That's why we have taken the name and percent value before creating the object. So now I am creating the object. So this is how the object will be created. Student, this is the class name, then space object name, this is s, and in front of that we have to open a round bracket. Inside that we have to pass both the parameters which are inside the constructor. So inside our constructor, first parameter is a character array and second parameter is a float value. Similarly here I have to pass first parameter as a character array, which is sname, which we have accepted from the user, and second parameter which is a float value, which we have accepted from the user. So both the values are passed here. From this location these values will be copied into these parameters, and from these parameters they will be set to name and percentage respectively. So this is how our constructor is initializing name and percentage for particular student object. So the values are set now. The next statement is to print the value. So for that purpose I am just printing a simple message, student details, and after that I am calling display function on s object. So display function will be displaying the name and percentage as defined in the display function. And finally get ch and return 0 is there. You know why they are here. And the coding part is complete here. Just selecting all, copying this code, going to compiler, taking a new file, pasting the code here and running the code. So it is asking me to enter student's name. I'm just putting PQRS. It is asking me to enter percentage. I'm just putting a float value. If you see, a student details is printed, name is printed, and percentage is also printed. So we have initialized the values using constructor, and using display function we have displayed the values. So this is how we have completed this question. Now let's move to the second question of practical related question. Write a program to declare class time having data members as hours, minutes, in second. Then write a constructor to accept data and display for two objects. So this is similar to the previous question, just the class name is different. We have to create a class time, and the data members are given as hours, minutes and seconds. Both all the three values will be in integer format. So these will be our member variables. Then we have to create a constructor to initialize the values, and after that we have to display for two objects. So we have to create two objects here inside main function. So directly moving to the coding part. So initially we have to include the header files, that is iostream.h and conio.h. As there is no string operation in this program, so I am not taking string.h here. So both the header files are sufficient. Then after that I am creating a class, that is class time. Inside I am creating a private declaration, that is int hour, means and second. So these will be our member variables for class time. Then inside a public declaration I am creating constructor time, which is having the same name as the class name. Then inside that constructor I am taking three parameters which are integer values, int h, int m and int s. So all the three parameters are to set our hours, minutes and seconds variables. So that's why I have taken three parameters. So it is a parameterized constructor. and inside the constructor I am just copying the values into respective variables, that is hours is equal to h, means is equal to m, and sec is equal to s. This is how our values are initialized here. Next we will move to the display function. So inside display function I am just putting hour, then attaching colon, which is a string, then means, then attaching colon, which is again a string, and sec. So if you see it in the output screen, you will see like a clock format. So hours, colon, means, and sec. So this will be the output of our display function. So the display function is closed and class is also completed. So moving to the main function, that is int main. Initially we are clearing the output screen using clear screen. You can skip this statement also. Then I am creating 3 variables which are integer, because we have to accept the hour, minutes, and second for 2 objects. So for that purpose we will need 3 variables to accept these 3 values. So after that I am just putting a simple message, enter time 1. Then I am putting a second message, that is enter hour. So this message is for entering time 1 value. So I am just entering hour value, that will be stored into HH variable, which is inside the main function. Similarly for minutes and seconds. So for time 1, hour, minutes, and seconds values are accepted here. Now it is time to create object of our time class. So how to create it? Time space object name, this is t1, and inside the bracket, that is inside the constructor, we are passing 3 parameters which are accepted by user. So hh, mm, ss, these are the parameters we are passing to constructor, as we have done the parameters constructor. So that's why we have to pass the parameters. So the parameters passed will go to respective objects, hour, minutes, and seconds values. So for t1 all the 3 values are set. Now it is time to accept the values for second time value. So again entering the same message, enter time 2, again doing the same method, accepting hh, mm, and ss for second time value. So all the values are accepted here. Then created second object, that is time t2, and inside the parameter bracket I have passed all the 3 values which are accepted from user. So the for time t2 is also set here. Finally it is time to display the output. So for that purpose I am just putting simple message for time 1, that is time 1 is, and calling display function for t1. What it will do, it will display the hours, minutes, and second values which are inside t1, and that will be shown into clock format, because our display function is designed to display clock format. This is how the time t1 will display. Similarly for time t2, message is printed and display function is called. Finally get ch is there to hold the output screen, and return 0 is there to end the main function. So the coding part is complete. Selecting all, copying the code, going to compiler, inside a new file, pasting all the code and running the code. So it is asking me to enter time 1, so it is asking me to enter hour value. So I am just putting 8, then minute value 45, then seconds 56. So this is time 1 is accepted. Then again asking me to enter the time 2, so again entering the hour value, so 5, then minutes 23 and 50. So both the time values are accepted. Now if you see, it has printed the output in the clock format, that is 8 in colon 45 then colon then 56, that is 8 hours 45 minutes and 56 seconds. So this is how the output is printed, and we have formatted the output properly, and it is done for both the objects. So this is how we have completed the second question of practical related question, and the practical number 10 is also completed, which is regarding constructors and parameters constructor and all the types of constructors. So that's it for today's practical. I hope this helped you understand the solution clearly.
code for this practical is available at the link given in the description. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such diploma level programming solutions. If you have any doubts or need solutions for other programs, drop a comment below. I will be happy to help. And hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching and happy coding.